I think, getting back to content again is important. And Mark, your background, you were editor-in-chief of Newsweek. You have a print background. You've moved into broadcast. What are your thoughts about the current state of web video reporting on publishing sites as opposed to what's happening on television sites? What the opportunities are for the web to maybe create something new. My own perception is that on a lot of publishing sites, publishers create videos that are interesting, compelling, but are not necessarily news-breaking as you would see on television sites, which that's really their job. How does this feel evolving?
We were talking about this earlier in the interview we did, but when I was in the print world and we were first starting to do video for the web, there was all of this macho talk about, hey, now that on the internet we can compete with television on video. And I think what a lot of people from the traditional print world didn't realize is it's a different art form. Writing for video is different. Editing for video is different. You can't just take the values and the assumptions that work in print and have it work in moving images. I think some print organizations have figured that out. Others still sort of feel like print in video. But on the other hand, I think the problem that television, I think, has had is it's the old sort of, if you're a hammer, you think everything's a nail. So if you've been doing something with this very high-cost model with all of these producers, you think that's the only way to do video. And the idea that you could actually do pretty good stuff in the way that we've all been talking about for the last hour, I think is something that's taken a while for TV to realize. So everybody's meeting in the middle. But as we were talking about earlier, look, I think there are certain things that are universal. I think editing continues to be important, whatever the form. It's obviously important in the printed word, but I think it's also very important in video. I think you started to talk about personality. I think that's also, you don't have to have high production values, but it really helps if you've got a compelling character or a compelling host or a compelling central figure. Brendan and I were talking about earlier about folks at The Economist. You were talking about some of the Economist writers who just pop in video or on radio.
There are people who present like Oxford Dons in person with terrible stammers, and when you hand them a microphone, they sort of relax and they become this completely different person. That's been an amazing discovery. I was going to say earlier, I wanted to back Stokes up on the question of production values, because when podcasting started, the most popular podcaster was Adam Curry. And I gave a presentation that was utterly wrong at a conference about 4 years ago, where I said, this is the future, this guy sounds alive, somebody knocks on his door, you hear him walk away from the microphone to answer the door, you hear his dogs barking in the background. This is what people want. They want somebody live and accessible. And it turns out, week after week after week, the most popular podcast, and it's going to be lodged there forever, is This American Life, which has incredibly high production values and the best audio storytellers in America. The first money I made in public radio was a kill fee from This American Life because the audio wasn't good enough. So that says something, that we can look around and be amazed, and I think it's still probably true, like the Wahoo Niche product that you watch, but I don't think that production values are dead just because we can do it cheaply. And I think looking at these markets one by one, when people figure out a new technology and the production values go down, but as soon as the larger players get in, they figure out that market and they drive them back up again. I think that happened with blogging, where you look at the best blogs are now owned by large publications. The Atlantic has an amazing blog strategy. Foreign Policy got the 5 smartest foreign policy observers and has made an amazing platform out of them. It absolutely happened in podcasting. So I don't see how the past, if we take the past as an example, when we now look at video or live video, I don't see how it's going to be possible again that storytelling isn't going to be incredibly important, production values aren't going to be driven back up, and the larger players aren't going to win again.